Janice Cobb of Save My Pet ID Tag. Engraved with your pet's info, they allow emergency personnel to start care for your pets if you're sick or injured. Head over to SaveMyPetIDTag.com and explore products. They ensure peace of mind for you and for your four-legged family.
Here today to give us a behind-the-scenes look at this great sport is an agility champion and an AKC agility judge. Oh, and she does a lot of great things in other arenas of the pet world. Please welcome to our show my friend, Kara Armour. Welcome, welcome, Kara.
Thank you, Arden. Always great to be here.
And folks, before we get, if I don't forget, she also has a podcast all about agility. What is it called?
It's called Start Line.
Start Line, cool. So it's on all the little channels.
It's on everywhere you can go, you can get it.
All right. Well, I've known Kara a long time. If you ever Google Kara Armour, you're going to be bow-wowed by all the things that she does. She was a Pet Sitter of the Year from Pet Sitter International. That's a pretty nice feat. And she had this wonderful boxer named Debbie, and I believe she had some big bragging wins, including the first boxer ever to win Agility Grand Champion. Tell me about that. That's pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome. It's a really cool program that the AKC started. They usually just had Master Agility Championships or Preferred Agility Championships, but they took it to a whole new level and they added different games or classes. And we can talk about those, but just to summate it, basically what they did was if you got 100 jumpers cues, which is jumps and weaves, if you got 100 standard cues, which have the contact equipment, you had to get 75 time to beat, which is a really fun game, 75 fast, which is another fun game, and then 50 each of the premier classes.
Wow.
And once you accomplish that, you could get your Agility Grand Championship. And Debbie was the first boxer to do that.
Nice, nice. So what's a nice girl from Massachusetts like you doing in a dog agility ring? What is the appeal to you of this sport?
Honestly, it's the community, it's the camaraderie, it's the fun you have with your dog, it's the communication, it's the absolute adrenaline rush. I fell into it by accident. I had some jumpy boxers. A friend with some Australian Shepherds came over for dinner one night. She said, "Hey, your dogs are pretty bouncy. You should try this agility thing." I took a class. My dog happened to be really good, and the rest is history.
How long ago was that?
That was about 15 years ago.
So when I see agility, and I like it, it's a sport for any dog of any size, but typically boxers aren't usually part of the lead pack. What's up with
They
boxers?
are not. They are considered an off-breed. The typical breeds that you see are Border Collies, Shelties, Papillons, Gold Retrievers. Those are more common. And when
Why
you watch
is
Westminster,
that? What is about the sport?
Their speed and their ability and the way that their genetics. Border Collie, you're meant to send out. They're supposed to run up over the hills and bring in your sheep. And so same thing, similar with a Sheltie. And so I call them preloaded with software. That's not to disparage anyone that's trained those dogs.
Preloaded with software, cool.
Yes, they come a little bit more preloaded than a boxer, which is meant to send out. They're originally meant to send out and take down originally wild boar, and then they became protection breed. So they like to send out and do goofy things. And I always say running with a boxer is like taming a clown.
It's like taming a clown?
Yes.
Give me a couple of funnies that have happened with your boxers in the agility ring, where you were singing the theme, "Send in the clowns."
So my specialty is actually dealing with ring stress, because one of the things that all dogs don't want to be is wrong. And if we as a handler communicate incorrectly and our dogs perceive that it's wrong, they can do sad things or silly things. And one of my boxers particularly tended to do silly things. My boy Walter would go and visit ring crew, which are the people that sit in the ring to help set bars. We would call it the kidney bean. He would do silly little maneuvers. He's jumped and visited judges. He shows off for the crowd. He does these little hoppy dances. So it can be quite entertaining. My girl Debbie would decide that I was wrong and choose a course that made more sense to her. And the crowd sometimes would just go wild at her independence. So they are, yeah, they're just a bit of a sillier, funny breed that is a different way of training.
The whole time you're doing this, you're smiling, the biggest smile I've seen on your face. So I guess one of the things for people getting into the sport of agility, don't take you or your dog too serious.
No, I ask all my students when they get upset, because you do put a lot of energy. This is an important hobby to many people. And when they get upset, I always ask them, I said, why'd you come to this class? Why'd you sign up for that form? And the answer is to have fun with your dog. So if you're not having fun with your dog, you're doing something wrong.
Good. So, and the sport of agility, is it continuing to grow in popularity? It used to be just purebreds, and then there's other groups. I mean, I have an 8-pound dog named Emma, my Gemma, with a mystery background. All dogs are welcome, right?
She would be welcome. She would be what we call in the AKC an All-American. And she would be more than welcomed. All dogs of all walks, shapes, sizes are welcomed. Obviously, certain breeds go faster than others, but other breeds have different specialties, and sometimes it's not always the fastest one that wins. So I placed first this weekend with my boxer, and she beat out some border collies and
was that Phoenix?
So, no, that was Wendy.
Wendy, okay.
Wendy.
So
yeah.
what is your boxer count now? How many do you and your husband Gerald have at your home in Massachusetts?
We just have the 3. We have Walter, Wendy, and Gertie.
Okay. All right. You love all dogs. Your heart beats dog. Why boxers?
Honestly, they crawled into my heart. I was working at a sporting goods store out of college in Boston, at Boston University. And I would pass by this dog every single day standing on his wall. And he looked stoic and he looked handsome. And he was a boxer. Mm-hmm. And I pulled over one day after work and I stopped and I went to his yard and he was he gave me a stance. And I said, "Hey, puppy." And he kind of gave me this look like, "Hold on a minute." Ran off, got himself his big giant jolly ball and came up to me. And little did I know, a few minutes later, I'm rolling in the yard with this dog playing around. The owner comes out and says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Where did you look, dog?" Yep.
So you fell in love.
I fell in love, yeah. And then I read up about them. I always wanted a dog of my own. And I'd grown up with a myriad of dogs, from Chesapeake Bay Retrievers to Maltese. I had the gamut. And I just kept reading up on a boxer breed and it just spoke to me. They are fun, they are loyal, they are goofy, they can be serious. They basically have a really good sense of humor that matches mine. And they're sprinters. They're not, I love German Shorthair Pointers. I think they're beautiful, but they need to run 3-4 miles a day.
I love that you found a dog that you love, a breed that you love, and you found a sport that you love. And there's so much into this. You've been doing this, you said, since how long? About 15 years?
Yeah, just about.
Is there any other dog sport you also partake in?
Oh, I love nose work, scent work. It depends on the organization. That's one of our favorites. We've also done barn hunting, fast cat trials, which are coursing ability trials. I've done confirmation. I've done rally. I try and do everything, but my heart belongs to agility. But if there were more weekends in my weekends, I would absolutely do more sports.
Have you ever figured out how many miles you put on your vehicle, either a month or a year, to go to practices or to agility trials?
If I happen to know this, you can just do the calculations yourself. I just semi-retired my 2017 Sienna, and it has 267,000 miles of pure dog miles on it. Because I have another vehicle I use for training and another vehicle we use for the dog walking. So those are pure dog event training miles.
Oh my gosh. Hey, everyone, we're speaking with an amazing person in the dog world. She is Kara Armour. She is an AKC agility judge. She is an AKC agility champion. She's a former pet sitter of the year, and she's a certified professional dog trainer. And on the lady's heart beats dog. And when we come back, we're going to dig into some of the inside looks of agility, from what kind of snacks or food to pack, and other things to make it a successful road trip for you and your dog when we get right back. So y'all know the drill. We're going to sit, stay, We'll be right back.
Hey, have you heard? Four-Legged Life has a new digital newsletter. Here, let me show you how you get yourself subscribed. So you just type in Four-Legged Life, and that'll take you to the website. There we go. And this magic thing just appears, and you type in your email address. I'll use, let's see, how about coolestdogever@gmail.com. That's me. And then you just click on this thing here. There you go. It's the new digital newsletter from Four-Legged Life. Get subscribed today.
Our special guest today is Kara Armour. She's an amazing person in many fields, including dog agility. And I got to ask you, Kara, when I take Kona to do pet first aid classes with my cat, Casey, I'm always trying to bring certain kinds of healthy single protein treats that they can have in class so it doesn't upset their tummy. I always give them bottled water. But I think you have a lot more to share on this. So you got an athlete with four legs, and what are some tips you can give people for agility classes and agility trials on what kind of good food for their pet?
Sure. Well, I think the biggest thing besides food, because it's a whole pet that we need to watch out for, is making sure we don't have any couch potato warriors, the weekend warriors that they rest around the house all week and then they come out on the weekends and do some extraneous activity. So what we want to make certain is that they're in good shape.
Good point.
A lot of the agility folks are very particular about keeping our dogs conditioned. And we do a lot of low impact exercises on those little blow up. You see they call them fit paws. So they have all this crazy fun blow up equipment for dogs that's fun colored and peanuts and balance discs and donuts. I don't know why they're all named after food, but so that's important. And then food is definitely important because our dogs have to be in a physical condition that they can launch themselves over jumps and land and not have excessive weight on their joints. So we do focus on single source proteins. I can rattle off a list of proteins that are not good for Debbie or for Phoenix or Wendy that don't agree with them.
Well, give me an example. What's a few good proteins for Wendy?
So Wendy does really well on duck, beef, and lamb.
Beef, and lamb.
Yeah, those are her top ones, where Walter is a cod guy. He really appreciates the white fish. And Gertie's a beef and chicken. She's a meat and potatoes kind of girl. She can handle any of that. So she's very young, so we're still trying to keep a good, balanced, healthy weight on her. But yes, supplements are probably the biggest thing. We make sure that their joints are protected, their bones are protected. The AKC is sponsored by a company. I have not used the product, but a lot of people love it. It's YouMove.
How do you spell that?
It's YU and then Move. They're a big supporter of the AKC, and I know the AKC wouldn't get behind something that wasn't good. I just haven't tried it because I have my own. I use a lot of Nature's Pharmacy products. Mm-hmm. So there's just a lot of supplements that we use to keep our dogs balanced.
Specifically, what are some of the kinds Sure. So Nature's Pharmacy, I use PhytoFlux, which is a nice mixture of green lit mussel, so you get the chondroitin, the glucosamine. I also get some kelp in there to keep their thyroids healthy. I mean, I go off the gamut. There's also a whey protein I give to give their muscles a little extra. Jeez.
They're getting a lot of protein, but I make certain that they have all the building blocks to sustain a healthy body, because the number one thing besides their happiness is we want to avoid any injury.
Good. Now, you talk about the food, but you also need to talk about hydration. So what are some tips that way?
Yeah, so it's very important. A lot of people will find when they travel, their dogs don't drink as well as they would like, and they don't stay as hydrated as they like.
Okay.
So sometimes we turn to things like coconut water, which have a lot of good natural electrolytes.
Oh, wow.
So we'll do that. Some people will put a nice little bone broth. They'll dilute it in the water just to entice the dogs to make certain that they stay hydrated, because hydration
sodium
is just
free,
as important.
Right?
Yes, of course. It's actually bone broth that a lot of people either make or you can buy at pet stores. Not something, that's a good point. Not something you buy at the grocery store. These are pet formulated, low to no sodium bone broths.
We make that in a crock pot for our cats and our dogs at home. It stinks up the kitchen for 24 hours, but it's really worth it. So you said that coconut water has electrolytes. What's the benefit of bone broth?
So bone broth has the extra, give me the proteins, the some collagen, has a little bit of it as you cook the bones down. It has collagen, which are all really good building blocks for joints and muscles and stamina. So it's just another way to keep our dog's cells healthy while they're out there running.
So we talked about some food. We've talked about some hydration. What other are some surprising things that you might pack on a trip to an agility trial that people might be surprised that are really must-dos, must-packs?
So a lot of us will have laser equipment, cold laser.
What is that?
You'll notice that. So if our dog, it's a muscle and, well, it's not just muscle, it's also skeletal, but it's also a way to increase the ability of our dogs and our bodies, because we can use these on our bodies as well, to repair. So every time you go over jumps and you hit things, you can have little micro tears. You want to make certain that everything heals properly. So a lot of cold lasers are big in people's cars that you will find. There's laser jackets that you can put on. So there's these dogs walking around literally looking like
These are like Olympians. Yeah, okay. Keep going.
Yes. I don't carry them, but at most trials you will find a PEMF, either system or bed. So that stands for pulsed electromagnetic field. And what this does is this again uses an electromagnetic field similar to a laser, but a laser is a light that goes through the skin and bones and body and muscle. This is an electromagnetic field that again encourages healing and keeping bones, joints, and cells healthy. So there's a lot of things that people have. I have what I have, because those things are very expensive. I have something called a back on track coat, which is not just a
track coat.
Back on track. Yes. They started on, I believe, in the equine industry. And what these products do is they originally started out having ceramic inside the coat with a special technology that provided warmth specifically to muscles.
Wow.
So we're in the Northeast. It's very cold here. You're more prone to injuries if you take your dog from cold outside and bring it inside and let it run really fast. So back on track coats help keep their body more regulated and their muscles warm and ready to go.
This is not your grandma's agility.
No, there's amazing products that really have kept our dogs in tip-top shape and the best health, way healthier than humans. We find that a lot of the dog products we use, you'll see us using our dog laser on us.
Well, I was going to ask you, we only have 2 legs. We don't have 4 legs, but you're still running in the agility ring. Any tips to us 2-leggers on how to not pull a hammy or a quad?
Stretch, KT tape, and Tylenol.
And pray.
Yes. And that's what keeps us running.
No, but seriously, the stretch. What's a good stretch for people?
Really focus on your hamstrings, because we're sprinting and taking off from a dead stop. I think hamstring injuries are one of the biggest. We have a lot of plantar fasciitis. Make sure you get correct shoes that fit properly. That's a big one. Calf strains, quad strains, those are your majors. And then the minor things when you fall. People do fall, and you can get hurt if you fall. But the biggest things are leg strain. We really have to keep our legs stretched and go. There's been knees. We do a maneuver called a front cross, which is basically running really fast and spinning in front of your dog. And that can do some damage on your knees.
So you've been doing it a while. I'm much older than you. Have you ever been surprised? Has there been somebody in good shape that is an aging boomer?
There are actually the predominant age for people in agility, I would say, are between 55 and 70 years old.
Oh, my.
I am on the younger side, yes. It is a sport for all walks of life, but it's an enjoyable sport for people that are either empty nesters or they have a bit more time. It's great for retired people just because you can dedicate more time to it. But there are lots of people like me that work many full-time jobs that still do this. And I am fortunate enough to revolve my life around it. But it does tend to cater to I don't want to say older demographic, but a demographic that's not
seasoned.
It's not seasoned. Yes. It's not primarily 20 to 40-year-olds. It is.
That's surprising. Yeah, I didn't know that.
And it's great. Yeah.
And what's it like on the road when you meet friends? It's almost like you've got an extension of a family, right? So what do you all do when it's not your turn in the ring? I know you have to have certain things so you're not messing up the active dog and person team in the ring, but what's some things that people do to pass the time in agility?
It's actually a wonderful community. What I love about agility is it brings people from all walks of life.
Good.
Teachers, dentists, real estate brokers, dog trainers. I mean, you name a profession, they're there. And so we all get to learn and grow together. We take a lot of walks. Our dogs, I try and keep my dogs active every 2 hours. If they've got a 4-hour gap, I'm taking them out of their crates every 2 hours to keep them limber and moving. We do lunch together. We share life and stories and pretty much everything together. And it is a wonderful community that I think has really helped keep me there. It's not just the fun of the sport, but I really do appreciate the people.
So what's your parting message for people to either participate in an agility trial or to be there and cheer?
I definitely recommend coming there and cheering. It is a little tough because they're crowded. So finding a place to watch can be challenging. Look at your local, if you go to AKC Event Finder and put in your state and location, you can always find events that way. And then in general, if you're interested in it, you can just go to the good old Google and type in agility classes near me. Because of its popularity, it can be hard to get into. Don't expect to find one 5 minutes down the road. You might have to drive an hour. There's not
267,000 miles in Siena, but keep going.
There's not always classes exactly close to you, but it's worth it to even just try it. You can book a private and try it at a local place and see if you and your dog are interested. I will say it feels like there's a barrier to entry because there's so much to learn in the beginning.
Yeah.
Sequencing, when you start doing multiple obstacles at once, is the most fun, but it takes you several months to get to that position. You have to get your dog. Yeah, you have to get your dog used to the equipment. Then you have to get used to handling. So I do always tell newbies in the sport, you watch Westminster and you dream of getting there, and you can get there, but there are some miles you have to put in before. You can't just jump in.
I want people to learn more on your podcast. How do they tune in? What's it called again?
The podcast is a lot of fun. It's called Startline. You can find information at startlinepod.com. And
how do they find out about you?
So you can just Google me, Kara Armour. I'm kind of all over the place. You can find me through the AKC. I am an agility judge. You can also find me through my company called Active Paws.
I love it.
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life.
Four-Legged Life.
Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content.
Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.